Welcome to Carrying Wayward, a supernatural podcast for fans who aren't ready to let go and newcomers to the series who are ready to jump in. I'm Marie Vigourou.
And I'm Drew Schulman. In this episode, we're diving into Supernatural Season 9, Episode 10, Road Trip. Let's get this show on the road.
Bummed everybody out last week with the little housekeeping that we had. Bummed myself out big time. But yeah, I don't really have anything this week. We're just here.
Yeah, I was gonna joke about like the combination of like, our little tagline of get the show on the road and this being the road trip episode. But it also kind of feels like just like we had our big like crazy climactic mid-season like oh my god moment with the whole Kevin and Gadriel reveal. I realized you kept pronouncing it Gadriel, and that is the way it is spelt and I believe pronounced, and my brain just can't get off Gadriel, which also sounds like an angel name. Yeah,
Gadriel, like Gabriel kind of thing.
Yeah, like Gabriel with someone just the B's backwards for some reason. The way I would have spelled Gabriel for the first like few years of my life.
I mean, it really depends. So it's kind of like the way that Jared Padalecki sort of, for a really long time, pronounced Castiel like Castiel, which was always weird to me. So I guess you can call him whatever you want, but it's just like, we'll just side-eye you a little bit.
That's all good. I'm mispronouncing it because I'm just saying it too quickly. But again, my point being is like, we kind of hit this like, we hit that big moment, and while like I think this is a really like crazy episode, like nonetheless, and there's like a lot to discuss, it just sort of feels like we're getting back on the road of like, let's continue this season now that we kind of like have figured out what the rest of the season I presume is going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's something that like we're going to talk about a little bit, I guess in story time, but like it really feels like we've wrapped up a lot of what was started at the beginning of the season, right? Like all of the whole like angel inside of Sam kind of thing, like all of that is wrapped up. So there's a need to like open up new avenues of narrative. And I think that that's where we are. I agree with you. Like this idea of the road, they're back on the road doing stuff.
It feels like a weirdly fresh-ish start despite where we start this episode.
And despite where we end, frankly, because we have a Winchester breakup at the end of this episode. Another one.
Oh, yes. Oh, this one feels very, we'll talk, but it feels very different.
Okay. All right. Well, Drew, then, in that case, are we ready for the recap?
Count me down.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, my God.
Here he goes killing again. Good old Gadriel, just the murder angel, apparently. Even going so far as to like actually almost stopping it, having a moment of like, I want to say humanity, angelality, when he meets a buddy of his and he's all like, no, I'm living here now and it's good. And I just work a shitty IT job because I don't know what that's like. And then he's like, nope, still going to murder you because Metatron said so. And I need to redeem myself, and killing is the way to do that. We then have Dean and Crowley going on their fun little road trip together. The name of the episode, and hunting down more clues about what's going on and finding Gadriel and catching him and then hacking his brain, which is a horrifying thing. And again, Sam's poor head, that poor boy, that brain of his, that skull, ultimately ending with the removal of his tattoo, which I'm calling now is going to be some sort of weird thing where they forget to put it back on. It's going to be a problem later. To go in and have a like Looney Tunes-esque moment between Crowley and Sam in a Looney Tunes-esque episode that Sam is living through with cheerleaders and zombies or ghouls, ultimately kicking Gadriel out and sending him back to his old body, who is a bartender that Metatron was sitting in front of, conveniently, pure luck. And Sam and Dean are both back and everything's good again. Never mind, I lied. Breakup time.
Yeah, so this episode actually opens up on Dean burning Kevin's body as he's alone, right?
Oh yeah, that whole opening that I blocked out because it was horrifying to watch something so blatantly real. Like it really, I said it last episode. I kind of was like, is this really the end of Kevin? Like, is this really a death? And No, yeah,
Hmm.
that was a hunter's funeral.
You know what else I completely blocked out of my mind? The information about this episode. This episode was written by Andrew Dabb, directed by Robert Singer, and originally aired on January 14th, 2014. We are now officially in 2014.
Yeah, whoa, we're only 11 years ahead of this.
Yeah, so we can also clearly tell that like Dean is clearly moved by the guilt that he feels over his death, right? Um,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, Gadriel is on a rampage. He starts off by killing what I can only describe, or what I can only assume to be like Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber's baby, right? Like,
It really just feels like the most generic, like, we need like a douchey rocker type. Like, just, oh, like everyone in every movie that is a jerk, got it. We cast the dude.
right, but it's the red hair.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
No,
so
it's the red hair,
specific.
it's the sunglasses. Like, there's a really good vibe there that, yeah, you really hit with those two, I think.
Also, I sort of need us to talk about Gadriel and Abner because there's and I'm gonna put this in very large quotation marks, but like joke about them being boyfriends. But the last joke about boyfriends was Dean and Cass. And so, like, again, I'm like, I don't know. And the way that Gadriel, like, reacts when he sees Abner for the first time, I don't know if this was a joke. I don't think this was a joke.
I mean, like, even before putting labels on it, jokingly or seriously, it really is just a moment of like someone legitimately seeing someone they actually do care about. And given what we've known of Gedriel up till now, that didn't seem like a thing we'd ever really be concerned with. Because I mean, like, who is he known for the last umpteenth thousand years in solitude? But apparently, he has a connection to somebody, someone who actually is happy to see him. I I'm not gonna lie, I legitimately thought this was gonna be like a moment that we'd have to like reconcile whether he would like lie about killing him and it would be like the first cracks and the ooh, maybe he could be redeemed. Never mind, carry on.
Right. I don't know. I think we might want to. Do we want to keep this in mind? I don't know. Maybe we want to keep this in mind for the rest of the season. I'm not sure if it's directly related, but I'm just seeing some themes here. We find out a little bit more about the logistics of like Sam and Gadriel and like that whole possession thing that's going on there. Thanks to Crowley, my favorite girl, who is also possessing Sam temporarily.
Oh yeah, the so again, it does answer. We actually had to answer one of my questions from Story Thoughts in the past like episode
Yeah.
of yeah, Sam is seemingly completely disconnected and living this weird, impossible comedy case with cheerleaders and ghouls, like I said, until Crowley comes in and makes him realize it's wrong through Looney Tunes-esque antics.
We do find out that the Winchester panic word is Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, you know what? Just I always enjoyed the like. Here's a name of a place that just sounds funny to say. Nothing about the place. No, we're not making judgments. It's just this is a good feeling word to say. So good on them for following that weird trend. I love.
We also get a really, really, really satisfying moment finally when Sam tells Gadriel to like get out of his body. And I just like in that moment, I was like, yes, Sam.
I will say my love the moment. It was pure gold. The only thing I wanted was like an extra second of just him and Crowley, where it's like Crowley being like, "Good job, you did it," and then Sam going, "You too." Like I just like the idea of like, no, not just him, everyone out. This is a one man ride.
Yeah. Oh man, poor Sammy. We do get the iconic line, I'm poisoned, Sam. And we do end the episode on another Winchester breakup, like I mentioned. Yet another one.
Yeah, and like I said, I do want to talk about this one in my story thoughts because I do feel differently about this one than I have with the other ones, and I'll explain why then. But I think it'll be easier to talk about everything else first because it'll make more sense.
Fair enough. Let's get going then.
So this week, our theme is consequences. I feel like the show is set up for like so many moments where the consequences of one's actions come back to bite said person squarely in the ass. This time, however, it feels like different. I think we, the audience, and like the characters were allowed to stew in it for much longer than we ever have been made to in the past. Like usually something is done, and we see the ramifications almost immediately, from opening the gates of hell to freeing Lucifer, making deals with demons. Like they're immediate. And these all have consequences, sure, but living with the pit in your stomach, knowing what you did will only have consequences, but will certainly come down on you. Like not an if, but like a when. Very different.
This is an interesting feeling, Drew, that I want you to remember. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. There's definitely a lot of setup here, with Abaddon, with Crowley, with Gadriel, arguably with Cass as well. And I will say that Supernatural, the show, starts to play like a much longer game with us now. So we do have to be a little bit more patient to see what's going to happen. And again, like this is something that kind of continues throughout to the rest of the show. I'm looking for my words. I'm very distracted. I don't know why. But yeah, so this is actually something that's going to happen quite a bit. And sometimes like we're going to see stuff, let's say in season like 12 or 13 that are only going to be like resolved in season 15 kind of thing. So keeping that in
Wow.
mind.
You know what? Impressive. I love when a show can do that.
Well, I think it's also because at this point they knew that they weren't like risking to get canceled anytime soon, right? Like it had kind of been said to the three main actors, like this show will continue as long as you want to continue it, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Like, before we get too much into story time proper, that is like kind of a nice thing when there is that freedom that they can break away from having to like meet the standards to make sure the show does make the ending that they want, that does get the numbers to keep going. They kind of have that little bit more freedom to like play around and move stuff.
Hmm.
I weirdly pull up as an example of a manga from Japan, where the author had this thing where he would keep leaving in little clues and hints for things, like completely with the idea that this may never pay off, and that's totally fine because the book may end before then. But then when he had a moment, he was like, "Well, I need something new this week," and would just go back like, "Oh, 87 chapters ago, 3 years ago, I referenced this one character by name and never bring him up again. Now it's relevant, and we're going to tie it all together somehow." Like having that room to stretch feels nice. So I'm looking forward to more of that actually.
I like that. I just want to finalize this by saying that I also think that this episode is a lot about reaping consequences or like reaping what you've sowed, especially for Dean.
Oh yes, I will have what to say about Sam later. Don't you worry. But this is a very big Dean episode. Unlike the rest of the season, I say sarcastically. So as I implied up top, this is not the first time we're seeing Dean face the consequences of his actions. We've in fact seen many characters make choices and have it blow up in their faces. Usually the more minor characters to quicker and more less alive. While Dean's consequences are often seeing someone he cares about getting mad at him or punching him, which I think is Sam's right to do here, and which he's done 3 or 4 times now in response to choices Dean's made. But we've never gotten to watch Dean go through the journey of like self-realization like we have this season. I think, like we said, like we just said, I think allowing us, the viewers, to follow along this way only makes it that much heavier. Like, yes, he knew Sam was going to be pissed, which he clearly was, but
Hmm.
we saw him come to the conclusion that's what he had done was truly beyond forgiveness and had truly gone too far like a while ago.
Yeah, I'm kind of two minds about this because I think that, based solely off of this episode, I do agree with what you're saying that Dean is very aware that the actions that he took have like harmed Sam to a point that he couldn't possibly have imagined when he initially made the decision. And so he does take responsibility for them. But then on the other hand, I'm also seeing a behavior that kind of undermines that for me because when he leaves Sam and Cass, he's like, I'm poison, Sam. People get close to me, they get killed or worse. I tell myself that I help more people than I hurt, and I tell myself that I'm doing it all for the right reasons, and I believe that. But I won't drag anybody through the muck with me, not anymore. And it's like, okay, okay. So. So, like, what are you going to do to fix your behavior? Like, what concrete steps are you going to take to heal your relationship with yourself and with others so that the decisions that you make are more in alignment with who you want to be, right? Like, that's what Dean should be doing, ideally, in this scenario, if this is really how he feels. But I just have this sneaking suspicion that that's not what Dean is leaving to do. And instead, like he's probably going to do something that's really, really big, stupid.
Oh yeah, I mean, it feels like such a like wasted potential in Dean in this moment that rather than seeing the mistakes he's made and learning from them and trying to correct them and find ways to move past them, even if the end result is, and I don't think it'll be permanent, that he and Sam are completely separate now, that eventually he's able to work with someone else in the future in a way where it's not like him and Sam. But no, he's just going to cut the tie because he can't change and he's just going to keep hurting people. And yeah, he is going to just either do something stupid and kill himself or get himself killed, sorry, or do something stupid and try to win Sam back. And Lord knows it'll work because the show.
The show,
Yep.
indeed.
So on top of the fallout he knew would come with Sam once the truth was revealed, we do still get some of the more immediate ramifications of his ordeal in the death of Kevin, as we said.
Yeah.
Dean's needs to save Sam led him to make unsafe choices, and as a result, let an enemy get too close and not only steal Sam's body, something that can end by episode's end is undone at least, but take away Kevin, which is not something they're gonna just fix.
Yeah, no, this is unfixable at this point,
Yeah,
right? Like, I mean, even if Kevin were to come back in some way, right? Like, there would be some sort of uh, like leftover something, right?
yeah. And even if like miraculously they undid this somehow through some sort of Deus Ex moment, the trust, the family, the connection part of all this is horribly ruined.
Yeah, exactly.
So this episode does end with another one of our famous separations of the brothers, something we've seen before. But like I keep saying, this one felt different. It wasn't like one walking away in anger from the other over some disagreement. This time, Dean says he's going, and Sam agrees. I know this may simplify things a bit too much, but it really is the difference for me between like a parent yelling at you for something versus just letting you know how disappointed they are in you.
Yeah, I think I mean the thing that I feel might be different about this particular separation is that after Dean goes, like, I'm Poison Sam and the whole thing that I just said, Sam
Mm-hmm.
says, "Well, go. I'm not going to stop you, but don't go thinking that that's the problem because it's not." And to me, like that's really the the key moment. It's not for me anyway. It's not so much that he agrees to kind of like let Dean go. It's that he says, but don't go thinking that that's the problem because it's not. And because I feel that, right? Like that's what I was saying earlier with Dean. It's that like the problem isn't who Dean is. It's not that Dean is poison. Like that's not the problem. The
No,
problem is the choices that he's making and the reason behind these choices. Like that is really the problem. But Dean is not able to see that. And for a lot of reasons, right? Again, not moralizing it. I'm just kind of like seeing or saying what I'm seeing, naming the things that are happening on screen.
yeah, it's the fact that Sam is not just doing the walk away in anger thing or letting Dean walk away because he's equally angry. It's he's letting Dean walk away. And as you put it, I think so well here, that line is letting him know like that isn't the solution, that isn't a fix. There is something actually wrong here that we need to deal with. And this is just, I'm letting you walk away because I don't want to put up with it. And it's you who needs to figure something out.
Yeah, there you go. And plus, at this point, I think it's also, like I do think that sometimes it is okay to walk away from like to kind of like figure things out in solitude and whatnot. Like that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not upset about the walking away per se. We know that like they are eventually going to get back, as a team together because the 5 seasons of the Winchesters feuding would just be too long, too long, too long. So there you go.
I feel that we can finally talk about Sam for the first time
Yeah.
properly in a season because it took half a season and even more physical injury to this moose's poor head. But we got there. Sam is free. He now knows what was done to him by Dean and how not only was his agency taken away from him, but his trust abused, his mind and body violated. All of this before we even get to the angel being a liar and now seemingly the next big bad. Sam faced some pretty rough consequences too this week, but they were the consequences of someone else's choices. And often consequences are made to like sound like karma in that the person doing the action will face the equal and opposite reaction. But as we see here, sometimes choices have ramifications that reverberate beyond just yourself.
And that's kind of the thing also, right? Like that's what happens when you live around other people. Like sometimes, or even not, like you live in an environment and therefore sometimes you will have to deal with stuff that you did not cause. But I think in this particular case, I just want to point out how unfair that is because Sam is literally suffering, like literally suffering because of other people's decisions. And he's the one who has to cope with like remembering killing Kevin and those other people. And he didn't even make the decision to kill them. And it's like, this is this is some real like personal suffering that has been inflicted onto him by other people.
Yeah, and I just like I'm having a moment right now where I can't think of any concrete examples. I know this wouldn't have been the first time, and I'm sure there's other examples too of characters we follow or see or care enough about being affected by the consequence of someone else's choices or actions. Usually, I'm trying to like just, I mean, heck, we can even go back as simple as a few episodes ago, the other hunter they meet, whose parents were killed because Sam let
Yeah.
Lucifer free. Like, there's exactly this hunter lost her parents because of a choice you made, Sam.
Yeah.
Like, consequences aren't just yours; they're everyone's.
Yeah.
But in this, again, Sam is the one affected specifically here we're looking at. He was wronged by Dean in his attempts to save his life, but also the victim of the aftermath. Like they both leave this week's episode hurt and damaged, but only one of them made the choices that led to it.
Hmm.
One last small point, Sam point at least, I'd like to make is a comparison here. While we can all agree that Dean's choices to do all of this was wrong and is very much the point being driven home here, it does overshadow that Gadriel turning on them part of it all, like that whole that we almost forget that's a part of this episode. Like I had to remind myself, something Sam should be all the more knowledgeable about given his relationships with Ruby and the demon blood free Lucifer story arc. I'm not going to say trusting a demon was much worse than trusting an angel you've never met, but both scenarios do see one of them trusting a supernatural being promising to help save the day only to be betrayed. Even Cass faces exact same fate when he chose to trust Metatron, which again, that's another bucket of worms we'll have to dig into in a minute.
Yeah, and I think we did touch on that a little bit last week when we talked about how like even we as an audience like had never had a reason to doubt who an angel said that they were. So I think it's safe to say that it's the same for Sam and Dean, right? So really, like there was no way for Dean to even think of this as a possible consequences or as a possible outcome. And again, I think that if Dean had stayed and actually talked to Sam about all this, like this is something that could have been discussed because I think that Sam is like obvious. I think that Sam is upset at Dean about letting an angel into his body period. It didn't matter who that angel was, right? And I think that even Sam would be all like, well, there was no way that you could have possibly known, right? Like think of somebody that you love, like quote unquote, borrowing your car without your consent, and then somebody else drives into it. Like, you know that your loved one isn't to blame for the accident, but they also just shouldn't have taken the car to begin with, right? Like, just like that was wrong, but you can still acknowledge that like they didn't actually crash your car like that. And I think that that's really the crux of the issue here for Sam, but Dean doesn't seem to see that. Like he kind of like mixes it all up. Like he
Mm-hmm.
feels so terrible about crashing the car that he forgets the fact that he like borrowed the car without Sam's consent kind of thing. So yeah.
This is like my favorite metaphor you've come up with. I love this. It's so like the disconnect from like your body was taken to your car was borrowed. But again, it hits every point that I wanted to express perfectly. So like brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Well, now we've moved on from our feuding brothers. Cass also faces some consequences this week or this season. Like with so much this week focusing on Sam and Dean, it's hard to remember that this entire season and all of Angel related shenanigans stem from the consequences of Cass's actions. Like this entire season is a repercussion of Cass.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yup. You totally knew that when you pitched this theme initially, right? This is not a realization you're having.
Well, no, because hold on. Well, hold on. The gates of hell, the trials, that wasn't because of Cass, right?
No, but the angel fall
Yeah,
was
the
because
angel
of
fall.
yeah, I'm saying the consequences of angels being here and the
Oh,
angel
yeah. Okay,
issue
sorry.
we're
I thought,
facing. Oh,
yes,
sorry. Yeah, no, we are very much in a world of angel related shenanigans due to Cass's actions and
right.
those
Yeah,
consequences. Um, so we do get a moment where he and Dean commiserate in their shared position, or as Dean puts it, so you're saying we're both a couple of dumbasses? And Cass in his very like Cass like way responds, I prefer the word trusting. Less dumb, less ass. Which I think is just so cute. And it's just like the fact that the two of them could share a moment and bond so adorably over this in like the consequences of
yeah.
their actions coming up to bite the people they care about in the ass is just like it's amazing how you can have a moment full of hope and like cuteness among this like otherwise horrific scene.
It's really interesting also, like he's like less ass. And it's funny because I don't know why, but I'm thinking about what he says to Lucifer or to Michael when he Molotov cocktails him, and he's like, "Hey, ass butt." So like clearly like ass is not a good thing for cats, is
Yes,
what I'm
it's just
hearing.
it's he's very much acquainted that is his bad word.
Yeah, exactly.
And like ultimately, I think the trusting nature of Cass, as well as Dean and Sam, as they're kind of the root of most of these problems, is they're trusting people, is part of the humanity they strive to protect. It's what, on a very basic level, makes them different. They have trust in each other, in those around them, and themselves.
I think that Cass understands like all of this situation. Like he understands Dean and the reason why he made the decision that he made, right? Like he knows what it's like to go against the wishes of somebody you love, like think back to the man who would be king, for example. But he also fully understands what it's like to be possessed by another entity that wants to murder when you don't want to, like thinking back to the Leviathan stuff. And so I think that Cass is like kind of in a strange position with Sam and Dean because he can't really take a side per se. He does stay with Sam in the end, and for some reason I like to tell myself that like it's because that he understands that like Dean feels better knowing that he's there to protect Sam when he's not around. And I don't know why. Like there's nothing that says that, but I'm like, this is how I'm understanding it. Thank you.
You know what? I like that too. I think there was a moment too where I was like, "Oh, like is Cass gonna go like is he gonna like play both sides here? Is he gonna stick to like just hanging out with Sam here for a bit? Like I want to see where this goes." Um, Lastly, quick touch on Crowley here. I don't really have much, but I do like have this weird view of how Crowley now being free feels like the consequences for all of Abaddon's attempts to take over Hell. Like he will be her undoing as she is the old school evil and pain, and he's the new way of thinking and being fair as far as demons go, at least. I just like I kind of like the idea that like he is the thing that's gonna like take her down due to her actions.
I just want to say that the consequences of Crowley's actions are the reason why he's free. Because he has been working towards this goal of being free since episode 1 of this season. I have never seen a character on this show girl boss, gaslight, and gatekeep as much as he has in order to reach his goal of freedom. And I just think that this old, like the old like saying is true that you can't fail if you don't give up kind of thing. And so that's what I'm saying. Like basically the consequences of all of his actions throughout the season so far is that he is now free. And I love that for my favorite girl.
Before we move to story thoughts, I am saying, and this is staying in the episode, if and when we get the opportunity to meet Crowley at a con or something, we will be making signs, and it'll be the three of us with Girl Boss, Gaslight, Gatekeep. I want that. I need that photo.
Yes, I second that. Okay, good.
Oh, I'll wrap us up with some story thoughts, because there's a lot to think about here, and that some things, like I said, were answered and weren't. I feel like I made so many notes for this one, and so many were like just squashed immediately. Like, who will be the new prophet after Kevin? I totally didn't think about that. And how will it impact? No, no, no. Metatron just turned off that feature. Apparently, it's a switch you can
Yep.
just hit. The
Hmm.
new prophet button off. I think her name was Margie, the demon working in the NSA.
Cecily.
Cecily. I don't know why I got Margie somehow. I think like it was mislabeled on IMDb or something. I like
I was reading your notes. I was like, who the fuck is Margie?
I didn't catch her name and I was looking up IMDb and I like that was like the name that clicked or something. I don't know how I did that, but Cecily. Honestly, even today rereading
Well,
some
she
like the
died
recap
anyway,
of
so it
it.
doesn't matter.
No, exactly. I was like, I like her. I'm intrigued to see how she may be useful later, or if she'll betray Crowley, or like the fact that she's openly admitted to playing both sides. Like that's a fun character. No, murdered. I mean, again, the way she spoke to Abaddon about playing both sides and like admitting that she doesn't believe in her, I kind of saw it coming, but oh well. Um, some alone time for Cass and Dean. Sure, we got shit to deal with, but them alone together, could be good. And then nope, third wheel Crowley. Well, this one does take away from the time Cass and Dean need and that we all want them to have. I'm never going to be upset at more Crowley time, especially when Dean is playing dad to his two non-human sons bickering in the back seat. That was peak.
That it's just
That is literally that Simpsons meme of the father turning around and going, "That's it, back to Winnipeg." That is the clip I picture in my head now. I do have some questions that weren't answered at least or quashed. Obviously, what now for Sam and Dean? Like, basically, how many episodes do we get them apart to actually grow and learn? Are we going to get some
Mhm.
growing and learning? Like, I'm excited to see where this goes because this is always where the potential is to do something cool. And then with Gadriel being revealed to Cass and his past being revealed to us, what does that mean for things moving forward? Like, why did he let Lucifer in? I want that tea. Lastly, does Cass seem weird to you this episode? Like a bit more aggressive or quick to anger since he got his mojo back? Like, does having someone else's grace maybe have a negative effect on Cass? Is that a thing or am I overthinking it? I don't know.
We don't know. Perhaps there's something there.
I don't know. I don't like it. There's a meanness in him and I didn't like it.
He was being murder husbands with Dean in this episode, and I do love that.
Valid.
I wasn't too sure what I wanted to talk about for this episode in Critical Time, just because there's like so much that we can dig into now that we can finally have some answers, and even like concluded some of the storylines that kind of started earlier this season, right? So keeping in mind our theme, let's jump into some quick etymology real quick. So consequences comes from Latin con, meaning with, and sequi, meaning to follow. So literally to follow with. And that's pretty easy, right? Because that's what we've been talking about like all season so far. That like the actions of these characters are going to have some direct repercussions, some of which were very obvious to us from the start, and others that not so much were obvious because we didn't have all the information at the time, and neither did the characters. And this made me think of something that Carol had said, either during a recording or right before or right after a recording. Like I just can't remember if this actually made it into a podcast, but I remember them saying this. And just for context, for those who may not remember, Carol is a social worker, and they're also one of our friends, one of our really good friends for a really long time now, who has guested on this podcast, I want to say twice before.
If not twice, three, but at least twice.
Right, there you go. And so they said that throughout the series, Sam's actions often have like overblown or literally cosmic repercussions. And I think that they were specifically referring to like his decision to trust Ruby and to drink demon blood, which truthfully leads probably to some of the most devastating consequences in the series by freeing Lucifer, right? Although that is arguable considering something else that happens later, also because of Sam. But anyway,
I,
he's
what?
just Drew is just sweating on the other end of this mic.
What can he do that's worse than the? I don't even want to know. I'll find out eventually. Go.
a very great darkness, let's put it that way. So we also see that Cass is making some decisions with cosmic repercussions with the Leviathan storyline, but we've never really seen Dean in that situation yet, right? So this is the first time that we do, because a decision that he has made has directly led to some potentially cosmic repercussions. So, what's the point of talking about consequences if we don't talk about accountability? More specifically, how these three main characters take accountability for the cosmic consequences of their actions. So, if we start with Sam, because I feel like we've seen more of that from him than from anybody else, we know that Sam stays. Sam works. Sam puts his head down and powers through. Um, Sam has a lot of annoying qualities. I will give you all of that. However, I do think that one of his best qualities is actually how he's like, yeah, I messed up big, I messed up like really big time, and I'm going to stick around and do what I can in this moment in order to fix it, but also to fix my relationship with you. And I love that about this character. This is something that I find like inspiring in the way that like this is something that I aspire to, right? Cass does things a little bit differently. So after the Leviathan ordeal, Cass went for the big gesture. I love him so much. He literally walked into a lake and died. Like, love of my life. And and when he came back, he took on like all of the pain and the suffering that he had caused Sam, like onto himself, right? So again, another big gesture. And then after that, he basically avoided everything and everyone and raised bees by himself. And then believed Metatron in order to bring heaven back, right? So like this is kind of a long-standing thing of Cass having trouble taking accountability for his actions, right? Um, but I do want to mention this because we know that Cass has learned how to build and maintain relationships from Dean. So, so like, what does that say about what Dean is going to do now, right? And take accountability for his actions. Because so far, what we've seen Dean do is leave. Like, which again, in and of itself is not a bad thing, like, because taking a moment to kind of like reflect on your actions, like, can be a really positive thing, right? Like, I don't want to say that he's doing a bad thing because I don't think he is, but you just got to wonder what he's going to do next. And so, my question this week is, given how Sam, Cass, and now Dean handle accountability in such different ways, what do you think the show is ultimately saying about who deserves redemption?
Ooh. I just want to start by saying I like that Dean's approach to this feels very like the cast. I'm going to go off and do my own thing and like not hide from it per se, but like take a step away and like
Hmm.
recalibrate. But also the very Sam thing of like, I am going to fix this. I am going to find a solution. I am going to, as best as I can, undo the bad that I caused.
Yes, but that's the thing. He focuses on the thing rather than the relationship. And in those cases, if you don't focus on the relationship and you just fix the thing, then you're not really fixing anything, is what I'm trying to say.
I think, and again, going back to the why I felt this split up felt more important, and you made even clearer in the way you worded it, is that Sam is the one pointing out this isn't just a go fix the problem and everything goes back to normal. It's the we need to figure something out because this isn't working. Like the you leaving is, I'm letting you go and we're both mad at each other. For you, for Dean, it's the I screwed up and I don't want to hurt you anymore. And Sam going, yeah, that sucks. I get it. But like the issue is this isn't working.
Right, because Sam is focusing on the relationship,
Yes.
on like the failure in the relationship, whereas Dean focuses on like the external consequences, right? And I think that that is such a fundamental difference in the way that these two characters handle conflict, relationships, accountability, and I just again, I'm kind of fascinated by that because Sam is literally here being like, I need you to fix the relationship that we have. And Dean is like, I am going to kill Gadriel. And it's like, but Dean, I don't know that this is really what Sam wants. Like, maybe, but is it really? Like,
And I think so. To answer your question about who deserves redemption, I hope, I truly hope that the results of this season, or at least moving forward, when they do inevitably reunite, is the realization that there is something fundamentally wrong with the way their relationship is, and that the redemption comes from themselves understanding that the fix is not just another kill the bad guy and things go back to normal. It's a we need to fix ourselves outside of all the bad guys.
mm-hmm,
Because again, redemption, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you can, like an apology. I can apologize to you, but if you don't accept it, what does it matter? It's I feel okay because I apologize, but at the end of the day, the person I wronged still isn't forgiving
mm-hmm.
me and still feels hurt because nothing actually has happened, but some words were said. The redemption here will be ultimately when Sam can explain to Dean how he feels, and he's starting that now for Dean to hear Sam and find a way to fix their relationship. Cass, I think, is just a matter of understanding what has happened, what his place in all of it is, and how he can continue existing moving forward, not in just the let me fix the mistakes and not just
Mm-hmm.
take on everything, but how to exist in this world and be a part of it more and
Right.
avoid these situations, but also take accountability for situations.
Mm-hmm. This week, we have a message from Clara, and before we listen to it, we want to remind you to send us a 3-minute voicemail to respond to anything we discussed today, to ask us a question, or for anything really. You can use the recording app on your phone and email us the recording at carryingwayward@gmail.com.
Clara writes, Hi, Drew and Marie. I really hope you received this message. I've seen that you had stopped uploading your amazing podcast last year. I'm still listening to season 1, so I don't know why, but I guess I'll find out sooner or later since I'm not going to stop listening or watching Supernatural. Like Drew, I'm currently watching it for the first time, and I'm so amazed by everything in this show. I love the horror aspects and the cinematography, and of course, Sam and Dean. Dean is brave and unstoppable and fascinates me in every possible way. And Sam, well, I'm pretty sure he's in the love of my life. Sorry, I think that again.
Oh, same, same.
Uh, he's so kind and pure. And also, can we talk about the fact that he literally looks like a puppy?
He truly does. So I'm so sorry. I have to interrupt you, but I have to say that I find it really hard to look at Jared Padalecki sometimes because he looks like a brown-haired version of my high school boyfriend. And I'm just
Oh,
like, I cannot look at you like this. I'm like, this is so weird. This is so weird. It's like, Nick, is that you? Sorry. Moving on.
Clara continues. I'm not 16 yet, which is why I haven't told my parents about the show, and unfortunately, none of my friends know it. But you talk about Supernatural with so much passion, and your podcast helps me make sense of the episodes. Currently, I'm in season 4. Everything is very excited with Castiel being new and Dean having to recover from hell somehow. So glad he's back. Anyway, I don't really have something smart to tell you. I just wanted to say thank you for the podcast. You make me feel less crazy about how much I'm emotionally impacted by the show. Love, Clara. P.S. I hope my English is okay. I'm from Germany and this is just my school knowledge. P.S.S. I'm carrying on your wayward.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's so cute. Clara, thank you so much for this lovely email. This is kind of reminding me of when I got into like online fandoms. Um, it, yeah, it's reminding me of that, and I don't know. I have such fond memories of it. I was young. Think I was a little bit younger than you when I first started venturing on the interwebs for fandom stuff. I think I was about like 13 years old, and yeah, I have really good memories of it. And I hope that you managed to make um some friends who are your age who are like also enjoying the show because there's nothing better than finding people who have something in common with you, especially when it's about like watching a silly little show together. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening. And I hope that you find community around this show because it's the best thing in the world.
Yes, Clara, thank you so much for this message. Like, just genuinely heartwarming to hear things like this. Like, I know it's like self-indulgent to be like, I just love hearing people tell me how much I love my show. But like the thing I really take away though is I've been in your shoes. I was that, and I know people will hear this and look at me or listen to me and go like, that's a lie. I was a quiet, shy kid once before I found my voice because I found people who liked the things I liked that I could talk to about the nerdy things I was into. I, you know, I Pokemon was that for me. It was the thing where like I became the person who knew Pokemon stuff and people got into it and we talked and I met people through playing it online and trading and other forums and discords and I'm if anything I'm jealous that I didn't grow up in a time where that was as available to me. Like it really was Schoolyard and maybe like MSN Messenger. If it doesn't show my age anymore, if anyone even knows what that is anymore.
I don't think people remember this, except for people our age, right? Like, this is not, I don't think Clara's going to know what that is.
No, it was an archaic way of communicating
Would you
before
like to
any
talk
other
about
social media
AOL,
app.
Grandpa?
I've got mail. But I mean, now we live in a world where meeting people online through so many different discords, Reddits, podcasts, communities is so much easier than it has ever been. That suddenly something that feels like was only ever your little niche that like no one would ever understand or talk to you about or like want to hear you talk about is now so much wider of a net. And I think funny enough, I think the best example of that was Supernatural in the Tumblr days when it first started. I mean, like that's what it's I think it's the pilot of like shows becoming an online community and like bringing fans together over their own theories and fan fictions and creations. So all this to say, a long ramble. Thank you for a lovely message. Thank you for listening and joining us on this ride. I really do hope you find more people and maybe we'll be a good source for helping you do that. Oh, we come to the end of the episode, and I'd like to ask you, Mary, what did we learn this week?
Well, I'm going to take a page out of my favorite girl, Crowley's book, and say, never give up because you can't fail if you don't give up. That's what I'm choosing to keep in mind because Crowley wanted to be free and he is now free. And that is only thanks to him alone. Nobody wanted this for him, but he
Destiny
made it happen.
Manifested.
Exactly. He gaslight, he triple G'd this.
I need a little button.
What about you, Drew? What did you learn?
You know what? Just sometimes I need to take a step back and go to a wider lens here, but like this episode, viewing wise at least, was done a little bit later after watching the previous episode. Mm-hmm. And just like, again, how intense this season has been and like what an emotional roller coaster it's still sending me on. Like, I didn't really think the episode after watching Sam be kidnapped by an angel who lied about all this bullshit and then killing Kevin would have me also emotionally invested in Gadriel when it came to Abner and rooting for Crowley as he literally possessed Sam. Like, we only have 6 seasons left or 5.5 seasons left. And the fact that after 9 seasons plus, or roughly 9 seasons, I'm still being surprised just makes me more excited for the road ahead.
This was Carrying Wayward, a supernatural podcast produced by Rochelle Castellano, hosted by Marie Vigourou
and Drew Schulman. Thank you to everyone supporting us on Ko-fi or Patreon,
including our bunker patrons, Jeremiah Thomas and Michelle.
We'd also like to thank Jake Lionheart for our music.
Head over to carryingwayward.com to become a patron or a Ko-fi subscriber, and for our merch store and our socials. And write us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Carry on our wayward friends.